Hello and welcome to another episode of Dime Time. This time we are previewing the matchup between the Golden State Warriors and the Utah Jazz. Well, there's no better way to put this. The Golden State Warriors spanked the Portland Trailblazers. Now, everyone, including yours truly, who thought that the Golden State Warriors had some struggles was absolutely shot up during that first round series. Almost everything they did on court it was near perfect. Whether it was Green, whether it was Curry, whether it was Thompson, whether it was Durant, it was them as a team, whether Matt Barnes, Sean Livingston, who missed a few games because of injury. I mean, you can just tell by the intensity of my voice that these guys were just exceptional. They played some of the most beautiful basketball that you could ask for in a NBA playoffs. I mean, the Warriors are a well-oiled machine. This is something we knew from the previous two seasons. Now they have Kevin Durant. I mean, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Terry Stotts, the Portland Trailblazers, they did not stand a chance. The Warriors finished number one in nearly every category that you can possibly take record of during the playoffs. And in the categories they did not finish number one, they were in the top three. And what was really, really beautiful to watch was the fact that the Warriors were flowing seamlessly both on offense and on defense, and that was very remnant of the 2015 championship team or even that 73-win record team that played last year. The Jazz will, of course, be some trouble for the Warriors. They will cause them a little more trouble than the Blazers did. But at the end of the day, the Warriors have, when you're loaded with that kind of talent, any kind of trouble can be had for the snack that you normally have between breakfast and lunch. The Warriors, though, in my opinion, will miss a very, very key component: Steve Kerr. Their coach, Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is suffering from an illness that they are still trying to figure out and is undergoing treatment for the same. But and in his place, Mike Brown has stepped up. Sure, Mike Brown is a former coach of the year. He coached the Cleveland Cavaliers, and obviously he's grown as a coach under the incredible genius of Steve Kerr. But Mike Brown is not Steve Kerr. And against the Jazz, who, in my opinion, are a little bit, are definitely a little overwhelmed that they are in the second round. I think it's easy for Mike Brown to take on the Jazz with the talent that he has, but as they move deeper, whether they play the Spurs or they play the Rockets, and obviously if you see my preview, I think the Rockets are coming through. You will need the finesse and the mentality and the genius of Steve Kerr on those sidelines. In my opinion, if the Warriors need to go down if to make the Warriors' journey easier in this playoffs, they need to have Steve Kerr on the lines. Despite their exceptional season this far, the Utah Jazz should consider themselves lucky to be in the second round of the NBA playoffs. This has less to do with Griffin's injury and more to do with the beast that is playoff Chris Paul. Now, if I get started on what playoff Chris Paul is like, I will spend 2 hours and then I will lose you as a viewer. And that's something that I don't want. I will definitely do a podcast someday on the greatness of Chris Paul, but this is not it. What Chris Paul did in Game 6 is, in my opinion, one of the greatest playoff performances in the history of the NBA. Needless to say, if a few plays had gone the Clippers' way in Game 7, we would have been talking about the Clippers here instead of the Utah Jazz. Back to the Utah Jazz, who are extremely fortunate to get Rudy Gobert back during the series with the Los Angeles Clippers. Rudy Gobert is one of the league's most talented big men, is the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, and in my opinion is one of the key players on the Jazz that can cause some real trouble for the Golden State Warriors, especially in the paint. The Warriors have historically struggled against big men who can either outmuscle them or jump over them or overpower them in the paint, and Rudy Gobert is both. Not that I've forgotten about Gordon Hayward. Now, in my opinion, Gordon Hayward is one of the three best players in this series. And of course, that means he comes behind Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. Now, many in the Jazz organization say that this Gordon Hayward has been this kind of a player. But in my opinion, to watch him grow over the years and now become the de facto leader of this Utah Jazz team, and to see that confidence come out in big games and taking big shots is just absolutely beautiful to watch. Gordon Hayward was on nobody's radar a few seasons ago, but now he's on everyone's radar, and in my opinion will be one of the hottest off-season signings for the coming season. Of course, I cannot leave out Joe Johnson, who has been exceptional in this series. He's brought back that old school style of give me the ball, let me play my player one on one, everybody clear out. Now, sure, the game has evolved significantly from there. It has now moved into a more pace and space game, 3-point shootings, and 3-point shooters and layups. But Joe Johnson brings back some of that late 80s, early 90s style of game. It brought back a lot of nostalgia to old school basketball fans, especially when he won game one on that ISO play. I mean, ISO Joe is back. He's having a mini resurrection of kinds, and it's absolutely a joy to watch. Overall, the Jazz have been fairly solid across the board when it comes to numbers. Their numbers are marginally up or just about the same as their regular season numbers. And even their players, whether it be George Hill, whether it be Joe Ingles, whether it be Derek Favors, whether it be Rodney Hood, these players have actually shown up to play the playoffs. And the Jazz team, they've become one of these teams that are loved across the NBA simply because they're such a hard working team, they're such a humble team, and it doesn't really matter where they are playing. NBA fans across the NBA, all love these guys, and it's a joy to watch them move ahead in the playoffs. Coming to the head-to-head, there's not much in the regular season that will indicate what really happens with the Warriors and the Jazz in this playoff series. The Warriors won the regular series 2-1. Concerns for the Jazz are the fact that they are not as efficient, or they don't score the ball as effectively as the Golden State Warriors. They cannot match up to that kind of talent that the Warriors will trot out on the floor. And defensively too, the Jazz are good, but they will not be able to keep up with the kind of pace the Warriors play at. But defensively, the Jazz's defense is not to be trifled with. They are an elite defensive team who can absolutely stop, if not slow down, the Golden State Warriors in their offensive flow. I mean, one of the Warriors' strength is that they keep going on these massive scoring runs, whether it's a 15-0 run or a 27 run. These guys absolutely go on these scoring runs, and the Jazz team are not somebody you can go on a scoring run against. They were an elite defensive team in the regular season. They continue to be an elite defensive team in the playoffs, and they have, in my opinion, what is the kryptonite of the Golden State Warriors, like I mentioned earlier, big man Rudy Gobert. Concerns for the Warriors, in my opinion, is just one, which is their best lineup is when they play both Durant and Draymond Green at the same time. So which puts Durant at the power forward position and puts Durant in center. Now, if Gobert is on the floor at the same time, that leaves the Warriors a bit vulnerable in the center. Sure, Draymond Green is, and this is something even I was surprised to find out just at the end of the regular season, that if you take sheer numbers, sheer efficiency on the defensive end, Draymond Green is actually one of the best centers in the league. If you just take the amount of minutes he played as a center, which is almost ridiculous. But at the same time, that still does leave them vulnerable to a talented big man like Rudy Gobert. The good news for the Warriors? Well, everything. They are more talented, they have an identity, they are faster, they are sharper, they have Draymond Green, they have Klay Thompson, they have Steph Curry, and they have Kevin Durant. I don't know, what more do you want? The Jazz will definitely push the Warriors, but I don't see any way or any circumstance under which the Warriors do not make the Western Conference Finals again. In my opinion, Warriors in 6. Thank you for watching. If you think you got something better to say, please leave a comment below, and definitely check out some of my other playoff previews.